people who were not of color, when he tried to stir up hatred for police and police were being knocked off like bowling pins, did he speak for the American people then, Jerry? So now Jerry goes on, Nadler. I don't even want to play anymore, but he's such a liar, it's frightening. Here's the next one. Dem Rep Cohen. Which one is this one? From here, they're all reading from the same exact playbook. Was a Nazi and a Ku Klux Klan member when they were about 2%, if that much, of the number of... I read this story. I read all the stories. I studied this in great detail, unlike these leftists. And although there were KKK and Nazis there, they were a very small percentage of those who had gathered in the park to oppose the desecration of the memorial to the general. For reasons he invents in his own head. Listen to 12. Cohen, whoever you are, I don't even know who you are, the day you introduce a resolution condemning Muslim violence in America and abroad is the day I'll take a word that you say seriously. You're nothing but like the rest of them. And I have to check what I would like to say, because that's not what I really would like to say to you, Cohen. You're all a bunch of craven cowards. If men like you had been running America in the 1930s, Hitler would have won, and you'd be speaking German or you'd be a lampshade. How's that, Cohen? Does that work for you? I'll say it again if you didn't get it. If cowards like you had been in office in the 1930s and had not stood up to Hitler, like you want to not stand up to the radical Muslims today, you'd be speaking German or you'd be a lampshade. Does that work for you, Cohen? How's that for non-moral equivalence? How's that for a straight talker? Because I just gave you the straight truth. There's almost a dichotomy there. People call and often say to me, how can you believe in God and be a rational man? Imagination. Some kind of voodoo that was created to hoodwink people in ancient Palestine thousands of years ago, and which then spawned Islam and Christianity, by the way. Judaism was the progenitor of the three major religions. That's right. You may not know that, but it was Judaism first, then Christianity, then Islam. So the three Abrahamic religions, if you want to put it that way, the three monotheistic religions, go back to Judaism. Guys were so wild in those days in Israel, those ancient olive growers. They had to be controlled, so they came up with some myth about somebody in heaven with a burning bush, and they scared them if they didn't do the right thing. They didn't believe in God. Well, I'm a very rational person, as evidenced by a lot of things I've achieved. I think there's something different than reason, isn't it? Isn't faith different than reason? That's why I say the title is God, Faith, and what? Not freedom. God, Faith, and what? God, Faith, and reason. Because I do not believe reason is incompatible with faith. Faith is something that you believe in. But it doesn't mean it's reasonable to believe in that entity, does it? Well, I believe in God. I personally, Michael Savage, I'm a super rational man up to a point. But I'm also a believer. And you can hear it in between the sentences of every word that I speak. You can hear it between my breath. You know, the mystical Jews say, the ones who are into Kabbalah, and I don't mean the actresses who are really, whatever, let's put that aside. In other words, those who really study Kabbalah say that the actual writings about God are in the white spaces between the letters. I don't know if you ever heard that before. It's in the white spaces between the Hebrew letters. That's the mind blower. That's a trip unto itself. Well, I never heard before. It is the blank spaces in talk radio that explain what you don't hear, should hear. Be right back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.